Okay, number 6. We want to consider the graph that we have here. And we're going to find the domain of f, g, and f plus g. So remember, domain of f plus g was just the overlap. And so to find the domain from a graph, you just read it from left to right, find the leftmost x value. So f is the blue line, as you can see. So it starts at 2. It would be in a bracket because it includes that point. And then it goes all the way to the right and goes as far as, this looks like 13, counting by ones. So the domain is from 2 to 13. Then we find the domain of g. We do the same thing. The far left would be +1 in a bracket. And then we go to the right, goes all the way up to 10. Also in a bracket. And then when we do domain of f plus g, we find where they overlap. So g goes 1, but f doesn't. So they start at 2. And one way you can look at it, it will be the greater of the small numbers, the lower bounds. So which one is greater out of the smaller in the interval? So it would be 2, which you can see it starts at 2. And then when you find the ending limit, is going to be the smaller of the upper limits. So you start with the bigger of the smaller and then the smaller of the upper. Okay, it's kind of weird saying that, but that's what's going on. So when we trace it, we go as far as 10. The f keeps going, but they stop overlapping at 10, and that's what we want. So from 2 to 10. And again, what you're doing is taking the bigger of the small numbers and the smaller of the big numbers. Okay, the greatest lower bound and the least upper bound are the math terms of how you say that. All right, so we're going to do the same thing here, but this time we only want to find the domain of g divided by f. So let me talk about this one. Domain of g divided by f. Remember, you start with the overlap. I'm going to start with the overlap. So that would be 1. They start at 2 and they overlap until we get to 12. Okay, so we would start here, 2 to 12. That's our starting point. We remove any values where f is 0. Okay, so where the y value is 0 in f. So the y value is 0 when x is 4. So we have to remove x cannot be 4 because that makes the bottom 0. So doing a number line, we're at 2, actually stopping. We're at 2, we're at 12. The number 4 is here. We're going to remove that point. So we're going to go from 2 to the left side of 4, and then we're going to go right side of 4 up to 12 in bracket. Got to do union. You have to remove that point because otherwise you would be dividing by 0. So bracket 2, comma 4, close parentheses, union, open parentheses, 4, comma 12, close bracket. All right, and then number 8, again we want to find f, g, and then f plus g. So f starts at x value of 0, goes over to 11. So we're going to go from bracket 0 to 11, close bracket. The g starts at, looks like the x value of 3 and goes all the way over to 13. So bracket 3 to 13, close bracket. and then the domain of f plus g. So the greater of the lower, 3 is the bigger one, so bracket 3, and then the smaller of the upper, which will be 11, which you can also just look at the graph and see where they overlap. Okay. So again, what I was mentioning, the greatest trying to do great and then greatest lower bound and then the least, the smaller upper bound. That's what you're doing when you find the overlap.